Alright, so we got a new movie that stars Steve Carell, Bryan Cranston, and Lawrence Fishburne called Last Flag Flying. I've been really wanting to watch and wanting to review, so let's talk about this movie. Last Flag Flying, directed by Richard Linklater, starring Steve Carell, Bryan Cranston, Lawrence Fishburne. This is a new movie that was supposed to come out in November, but it never came out to my area. It probably came out to other theaters in Massachusetts, but not to the two theaters in my area, at least. So I ended up waiting until it came out on Blu-ray, which it just came out on Blu-ray. And the movie is about Steve Carell's character, Larry Doc Shepherd. He is a veteran that was in the Vietnam War, and he finds out that his son joined the Marine Corps and served in the Iraq War, got killed, and now they're bringing his body back, and the military wants to bury him in Arlington Cemetery, but Larry doesn't want that to happen. He wants the body to be buried in a cemetery near his area. So he gets two of his friends that were also in Vietnam with him. Sal Nealon, played by Bryan Cranston, who was a bartender, and Reverend Richard Mueller, played by Lawrence Fishburne, to accompany him to Washington, D.C. to get the body and bring it all the way back to where he lives so he can bury it where he feels it should be buried. When he gets his two friends, it becomes very much a road trip movie with these three getting all the way from where they are to Washington, D.C. And when they get to Washington, D.C., the military doesn't like this idea and feel that Larry is dishonoring his son's service in the Iraq War, and Larry feels that this war wasn't worth fighting for because of his same feelings of since he fought in Vietnam, and he realizes Vietnam was based on lying, and he knows that the Iraq War is also based on lies because the Iraq War, we went to war with Iraq because we were looking for weapons of mass destruction, and supposedly Saddam Hussein was going to do his own 9/11, and of course none of that was true, and we find out later that was for oil. So really he doesn't like the idea of his son being buried in Arlington Cemetery. He would rather have his son be buried in a cemetery closer to where he lives. And so what the military decides to do is they decide to send one of their Marines to accompany him, played by Dantes James. So he becomes like the fourth member of the cast, and that's pretty much the movie. There's also the woman that plays Reverend Mueller's wife in the movie, who is pretty good in the film as well. So let's talk about this movie. Now, I was very intrigued by the trailer, and I like Steve Carell a lot. I like Bryan Cranston. I like Lawrence Fishburne. And the idea of watching a movie that is about a veteran dying in war, and the main character is anti-war instead of the usual pro-war point of view, was a very refreshing idea. It's like, oh, awesome, because that's my point of view. I'm against war. So definitely wanted to see this movie, and I like the fact that I was able to see it by buying the Blu-ray, even though I would have preferred seeing it in theaters first, but buying Blu-ray is just good enough for me. These three actors are great together. Lawrence Fishburne is really good in the movie, and Steve Carell really does a great job. You can really feel his grief in the movie, and Bryan Cranston is the best character in the movie. He's my favorite character. He steals the show in a lot of the scenes. He provides much of the comic relief in the movie. One of the best scenes he has is in the trailer where you see him in his Marine uniform along with Lawrence Fishburne, who's also in his Marine uniform, and Bryan Cranston is flirting with this woman in the movie, and that was hilarious. I really did like that part in the film. And the movie was really good, and all the actors really did a great job, including Dantes James. I thought he was very good in the movie as well. And it was very interesting finding out how they were going to transport the body from Washington, D.C. to where they are. First, they start off with using a U-Haul van, and when that doesn't work out, they end up using a train to transport the body from one place to another. And I definitely think people should check this movie out. So I'm going to give this movie a B+. It's definitely worth it. I'm giving it a B+ mostly because obviously this movie does have a little bit of a bias. But then again, all the pro-war movies that deal with veterans dying also have their own bias. So it's nice to have the other point of view be featured in a movie this time. So definitely check out Last Flag Flying.